Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Modern Warfare 3. I think it's time we all start to face facts here. Activision is never going to talk about skill-based matchmaking. They said they were going to 2 months ago. 2 long months ago on November 30th, they said they were going to be talking about it. And in that time, not really a whole lot of news has come out. There's not been like a whole lot of other things that have been taking up their priorities, really, right? There's not been a bunch of updates or anything like that. We had basically one update, which was Season 1 Reloaded, and it was arguably the worst update in COD history. And then we had 1,900 employees all getting laid off, and I'm starting to wonder, was the guy who was supposed to talk about skill-based matchmaking one of the people that got let go the other day? Because it's been 2 months, and now that they're downsizing a whole bunch, when Sledgehammer loses 30% of their staff, I just have a feeling that they're going to put that on the back burner even further, and they're just not going to talk about it. This is further backed up by the fact that they said they're going to be talking about this towards the beginning of Season 1. Well, we're about to be in Season 2. At the time of this video being recorded, Season 2 is 10 days away, and if history is any indicator, then in the coming days, we're going to start getting some blog posts, and we're going to start getting some trailers for the upcoming Season 2 maps, the Season 2 guns. We do know that the F2000 is going to be returning. We're going to start seeing the marketing material for that, so why would they ruin all of their marketing for Season 2 by derailing all of that to actually address skill-based matchmaking in any capacity really whatsoever? It was still mind-blowing. The fact that they even put this out in the first place, like an entire decade went by where people were talking about skill-based matchmaking. We knew it was in the game. We saw the patents. We knew everything pretty much. Just Activision always tried to deny it. They just swept it underneath the rug whenever they did any kind of PR move where they were talking to streamers or they flew out content creators. They would tell the creators and the news media, like, to their faces, like, no, we're not going to be talking about that. They refused to acknowledge it. It's just like one of those things, right? It was always very taboo for those people when they got to actually talk to people that work at Activision or Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, or whatever. And then randomly, for no reason, on November 30th, they're like, hey, by the way, it is real. We will be talking about it, and we're going to continue to talk about it after our initial statements, and looking forward to sharing that with you guys. It's been 2 months, man. I don't think it's going to happen. But what's also interesting is I feel like, as someone who plays COD pretty consistently, I feel like skill-based matchmaking has been fluctuating throughout the entirety of the Modern Warfare 3 lifecycle, and I'm curious to see if you guys have had the same experience. We all remember back towards launch where it seemed like they ramped skill-based matchmaking up to infinity, but then you had those times where they would have those free weekends where anyone could download the multiplayer and play in certain free playlists to kind of like play the game as a demo. Well, during that time, it wasn't even just the influx of new players, because all the players in my lobbies were still pretty high level. It just seemed like during that time, skill-based matchmaking was a lot different. Like, it was a lot less strict. Matches just felt in general easier. And my theory at the time was, if you're somebody who's been playing COD for a while, but you haven't played Modern Warfare 3 and you did not purchase it, well, your entire skill-based matchmaking rank, whatever you want to call it, is still tied to your Activision account. So when you boot up the game, you're still going to have the same skill-based matchmaking bracket that you had in previous games that you played, like Modern Warfare 2 or Vanguard or Cold War or whatever. So my theory was, perhaps during those free weekends, if people decided to play the game and they saw that skill-based matchmaking wasn't nearly as ramped up, maybe then they're going to be more willing to actually want to purchase the game. And then once the free weekend went away, they ramped skill-based matchmaking back up to infinity like they had before, like the old bait and switch. That was my theory. I know it sounds pretty cynical, but dude, at this point, would you put anything past Activision? That's just what I personally thought. But I've noticed over the course of, let's call it the past couple of months here, skill-based matchmaking does not seem as intense as it was when the game first came out, and that could be due to a number of factors. Number A, they did start having non-disbanding lobbies within the game. Now, they do occasionally still disband, but in general, the lobbies don't disband nearly as much as they used to. But number B, and I know rank's not everything, but have you guys noticed such a fluctuation in the levels of your lobbies? Like, I'm not saying rank is everything. It goes back to like the old school mentality where just because you're 10th prestige does not mean you're good. It just means you play a lot, you know. I understand that aspect of it, but in general, with skill-based matchmaking and with a newer game like this where there's only 250 levels and it doesn't take that long to level up really whatsoever, and there's all these double XP events and people can just grind on shipment or meat or rust 24/7 just to level up even quicker, you would think that if skill-based matchmaking were super ramped up, that all of your lobbies would look like this. What I did here, when I just hopped on and got a little bit of footage before I started recording this video here, is I just jumped into 3 random games of domination, and here, of course, we see a lobby that is just completely full of max level people, except for a couple. And then we have this lobby right here, where there's like a level 63, a level 88, a level 147, 106, 109, like, not really that high of levels. Like, these people don't really play the game a whole lot. And then here we have another lobby. Again, I only searched for 3 lobbies just to get footage, just to get a very small sample. But, you know, here's my team. Level 77, level 70, level 93, level 62, level 24 on the other team, for crying out loud. Name's Dale Gribble. Great name. R.I.P. It's just one of those things where it just seems like recently lobbies are very hit or miss. It's not like as strict as it was. It doesn't feel like, but of course we don't have any data to back it up. It just going off of feel, it doesn't feel like it's been as strict as it was back during launch. And maybe that is them tweaking it. Maybe that is them realizing that Modern Warfare 3 sold 38% less this year compared to Modern Warfare 2, and that's definitely not a good sign. Maybe over time, people leaving the game due to skill-based matchmaking is causing them to want to rethink some of their ideas behind it, right? Because initially it seemed like the idea behind skill-based matchmaking was always they want to protect the newer players because those newer players are going to get their foot in the door, and then once they have their foot in the door, then they become lifelong fans and they start buying shit in the shop and they buy all the battle passes. But the problem lies with the fact that they're taking such a huge gamble with that, because these people that are getting in the COD that you're trying to protect, these are people that have not played COD for the last 15 years. I mean, COD has been a juggernaut forever, so what makes you think if they weren't into it back then that they would get into it now, unless they're marketing to like actual children who were not alive back when COD first started to blow up around 2010. You know what I mean? In the process of trying to appease all those newer players who they don't even know are going to stick around after they get their foot in the door, they started to alienate the hardcore COD fans, the people that have purchased every COD for the last 15 freaking years, the people that have purchased the map packs back in the day, the season passes back in the day, the people that get the battle passes nowadays, hell, even people that have been playing for a long time but maybe want to blow a couple bucks in the shop. Those are your people. That is your core. And they started to alienate those people, and they have been alienating those people for like 5+ years now, especially, right? So maybe they're starting to see the effects of that. Maybe they're starting to tweak skill-based matchmaking. Maybe my experience is completely different than the experience that you guys are having, and maybe what I'm saying makes no sense to you because your lobbies are just as sweaty as ever. That's also possible, right? But that's the whole thing. Skill-based matchmaking is so shrouded in mystery, and then 2 months ago, they came out and said, yeah, it's real, and we're going to talk to you guys about it. And then they never did. And then with Microsoft finally taking over, Microsoft getting rid of all those employees, Sledgehammer Games basically being a skeleton crew at this point, losing 30% of their staff, I want to be proven wrong, but I don't think that we're ever going to hear them talk about skill-based matchmaking. I think they're going to try and just sweep this under the rug like they've done so many other things in the past, and that is really shitty. Again, I hope I am proven wrong. I hope I get to eat crow on this. I hope tomorrow they put out a blog post about it, but I don't see it happening. And that's really messed up when you think about it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this video here today. Let me know your experiences with COD recently. Has the game felt better from a skill-based matchmaking perspective, or has it been about the same? Let me know your experiences down there in the comments. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.